Hello students, now we'll continue with our topic chemical equivalence. Okay, now we come to the second method, that is oxide formation method. So our first method was related to the relationship between any other element with hydrogen. Okay, now here we are going to see the relation with oxygen. So we know that equivalent mass, we have to see how much parts by mass of oxygen, 8 parts. Okay, so we will keep that in mind, and we will see how much of the given element combines with or displaces 8 parts by mass of oxygen. So that is our criteria for finding out the equivalent weight in this case. This method is suitable for metals which easily combine with oxygen. So we will see here combination with oxygen. So in this method, a known mass of the metal is taken and then we are converting into its oxide. So metal plus oxygen gives metal oxide. So we will see how much metal oxide is formed, and already we know how much metal was taken. So we can find out how much oxygen is there in this metal oxide, and then we will find the equivalent mass. So very simple thing. Let the mass of the metal be m. Suppose m metal is combining. Okay, suppose the mass of the metal that is combining is m. Okay, and the metal oxide that is formed is w grams, w. So how much, this is the metal m, this is the metal oxide w. So how much oxide will be there, that is oxygen will be there here. So you have to just subtract w minus m grams. So then we will say w minus m grams combine with how much metal, m gram of metal. So 8 grams of this oxygen will combine with how much? So 8 into m by w minus m. So let us get a formula directly. 8 into mass of the metal by mass of oxygen. So simple formula. Learn this formula for equivalent mass of a metal when we are discussing with oxygen. When we are relating it to oxygen, that time we have to use this formula. So 8, where did 8 come from? 8 parts by, we have to find for 8 parts of oxygen. Then mass of metal by mass of oxygen. So very simple formula. So we will go on with this and do one problem related to this. 1.40 gram of metal when heated in a current of oxygen. So metal is heated with oxygen. How much oxygen we do not know, but we are given that it is 1.93 grams of metal oxide which is formed. Okay, so mass of metal is 1.40, mass of metal oxide is 1.93. So how much will be the mass of oxygen? We have to subtract 1.95 minus 1.40. So we get 0.53 grams. Okay, simple enough. Then equivalent weight, we know one formula, 8 into mass of metal by mass of oxygen. So 8 into 1.40 by 0.53. So you get the answer as 21.13. So that means that 8 parts of oxygen combines with 21.13 parts by weight of the metal. That is why its equivalent mass is how much? 21.13. So if it is asked how much parts by mass of hydrogen will this combine? So it will be 21.13, because 8 parts is equivalent to 1 part of hydrogen. If they ask how much parts of this metal will combine with chlorine, okay, so we will say 35.5 grams of chlorine will combine with 21.13, because if it is 1 part by weight of hydrogen or 8 parts by weight of oxygen or 35.5 parts by weight of chlorine, everything is equivalent, isn't it? So that is the thing that we should understand here. Now another method is oxide reduction method. So earlier it was combination with oxygen. Now here we are doing a reduction. Okay, the metal is being reduced by oxygen. So we have learnt in the definition that either it combines or displaces. So here we are taking that word, displaces. So this method is used for metal whose oxide can be reduced easily, like iron, tin, etc. So here metal oxide is heated in hydrogen. So what happens? This hydrogen takes away the oxygen and forms water, and metal is reduced. So metal oxide changes to metal. So we will find out the formula for equivalent mass, same as earlier, 8 into mass of metal. Here we know the mass of metal by mass of oxygen. Okay, so if metal oxide is given, you have to subtract from metal oxide, you have to subtract metal, and then you will get oxygen, and then you use the formula in the same way. So there is not much of difference. Now the next element, chloride, isn't it? So chloride formation method. So we are considering 35.5 parts by mass of chlorine, that thing we are considering here. So this method is suitable for metals which form chloride easily, like sodium, potassium, silver, gold. Okay, so for such metals we will use this technique. We don't have to use any technique, we will be given some problems which you have to solve, that's all. So metal plus chlorine gives metal chloride. So how will you find the equivalent weight here? Mass of metal by mass of chlorine into 35.5. So you understood when oxygen is involved, what is the formula? Mass of metal by mass of oxygen into 8. When oxygen is involved, you will take mass of oxygen into 8. Okay. So this is the formula for equivalent mass. So let us do one problem and understand this. Like 0.9367 gram of cadmium combines with chlorine to form how much of cadmium chloride? 1.527 grams. So mass of cadmium is 0.9367 grams. Mass of cadmium chloride is 1.5276. So how much is the chlorine? You have to find, you have to subtract and find. So we get 0.5909 grams. Now for the formula for equivalent weight, mass of metal by mass of chlorine into 35.5. So we get how much? 56.27. So that is the equivalent mass of cadmium. Now one more method is there, metal displacement method. So we know that active metals, they can displace other metals from their salts. So copper sulfate, from copper sulfate, iron displaces copper from here and sits in its place, and copper is separated. Okay. So here we must understand that when metals displace each other, they react in the ratio of their equivalent masses. So whatever mass of iron and copper will displace each other, that will be in the ratio of their equivalent masses. So if we know the equivalent mass of one metal, we can know the equivalent mass of the other one. So this formula we use when one metal displaces another metal. So here mass of iron will be given to you. Mass of copper will also may be given to you. Any one will be missing from this. Equivalent mass of one element will be given, and you have to find the equivalent mass of the other one. So this is about metal displacement method. So let us see 1.8 gram iron. So iron is how much? Mass of iron is 1.8. And mass of copper is how much? 20.4 grams. To form copper sulfate solution. If the equivalent mass of copper is 31.7. So iron is displacing copper from copper sulfate solution, and equivalent mass of copper is given. You have to find the equivalent weight of iron. So mass of iron by mass of copper is equal to equivalent mass of iron by equivalent mass of copper. So just take the ratio of their masses equal to the ratio of their equivalent masses. So 1.8 by 2.04 is equal to equivalent mass of iron by 31.7 grams. So finally answer you get as 27.97 grams. So